everyone, this is Heather. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I've got a card tutorial for you. We're going to be making this fun tropical card with a stenciled background and some adorable new stamps from Hello Bluebird. I am using the More Jungle Little stamp set from the new release, and it's got the most adorable little jungle animals. There's a hippo and a rhino and a cheetah and a meerkat and a zebra, and they are just so cute. Also some leaves and some fun sentiments. I'm also going to be using a couple of the coordinating dies. And also from Hello Bluebird, I'm going to be using just one of the flowers from Garden Friends along with its coordinating die. And for my stencil, I'm using a stencil from Stencil Revolution. I'm using a green cardstock base, just an 8.5 by 11 sheet cut, scored, folded in half. For my stenciling, I'm going to start off with a larger sheet of paper. So I've cut this cardstock. It's 110 pound weight. It's cut to 6 by 6 for right now, and then just an extra piece for stamping. Taking some repositionable tape, I'm going to be taping my stencil to my cardstock. And I'm using blender brushes and some Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to be using fossilized amber and peeled paint. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the color on my blending brush of the peeled paint, and I'm just going to lightly, in swirling motions, go over my stencil. This is a pretty good size stencil. I'm also not too worried about overlapping. If you wanted to mask off your flowers from the leaves, you could certainly do that. I'm not too concerned about it contaminating too much. So just soft circular motions. I'm going to go over all the leaves in the green, and I'm going to have some heavier ink in some sections and lighter in others, just to give it a little bit more of a realistic look. Moving on to the fossilized amber, just taking another clean blender brush, and I'm going to go over some sections of those leaves because a lot of leaves have a bit of yellow in them, so it just gives it a little bit more of a natural look. And then I'm just going to do the exact same thing, light swirling motions over top, and get those pretty yellow flowers. So if you want to lift up your stencil and take a peek and make sure everything looks good, you can do that, and then you just easily drop it back down if you find that there's some sections that you want to add a little bit more color to. So I'm happy with the way that this looks. I'm going to remove my stencil. I'm going to go ahead and immediately wash this off. So just using my paper trimmer, I'm going to trim down my stenciled piece. I'm going to cut it down to 5 1/4 by 4. With my paper trimmed down, I've just grabbed a paper towel, and I've just got a spray bottle with just plain water in it, and I'm just going to add a few spritz of water to that. It just kind of helps to add a little bit of a mottled look. I'm going to go back to my green peeled paint, and I'm going to smush it onto a clear stamping block. I'm going to get a large paintbrush, pick up a lot of water, and pick up some of that green ink, and I'm just going to tap it on and get that nice splattered look. So here's how that looks. I'm just going to set it aside for a second to dry. Using black memento ink on 110 pound white cardstock, I've just gone ahead and stamped out the elephant, the toucan, and the flower. I'm going to be using Stampin' Blend's alcohol-based markers to color in my images today, and I'm going to be using light smoky slate gray, and I'm going to color my entire elephant with that light gray color. Using the same light gray, I've also colored in the body of my toucan and just a little bit of his nose. I'm going in with the dark smoky slate gray, and I'm going to add in some shading and shadowing on my elephant and on my toucan. With the darker laid down, I'm going to go back over with the lighter gray and just blend those two together. And once I've blended those together, I'm going to go back in with the dark and just add a little bit more shading and shadowing. That's a great thing about these. You can just continue to kind of build up and blend out as much shading as you'd like. Next, I wanted to add a little bit of pink to my elephant, so I'm using light pink Pirouette. and I'm going over the inside of the ears. And when you apply a light color over a darker color, it kind of does the same thing as a blender pen would do. It kind of lifts away and blends those two colors together. So it's not like a stark bright pink, and it kind of helps blend those pinks and grays together. I'm also going to give him some cute little pink cheeks. Using Dark Daffodil Delight, I'm going to color in around the eye of my toucan and also just the base part of the flower. With Light Daffodil Delight, I'm going to color in one of his stripes on his beak and the top part of that flower. Using Dark Calypso Coral, I'm going to color in one more stripe on his beak. And using Light Calypso Coral, I'm going to color in the other. And using Dark Old Olive, I'm going to color in just this right hand leaf on this flower. I'm going to be cutting the other one away because it just kind of got in the way of my elephant. So now with some repositionable tape, I'm just going to tape my dies in place and run everything through my die cutting machine. Taking my scissors, I'm just going to cut in and sort of remove that leaf. It just kind of got in the way when I placed it over the elephant. And in order to make it look like the elephant is holding the flower in his trunk, I'm going to cut that stem in half. I'm going to trim off just a little bit, and I'm going to cut it at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to take my glue pen and put a little bit of adhesive on the back. I'm just going to place that off to one side of his trunk, like so. I'm going to kind of lay this up, see how that looks. It looks good. I'm going to add a little bit of glue pen to the back of the flower. Then I'm going to adhere that as well. And now it looks like my little elephant is holding the flower in his trunk. I wanted to add a couple little shine marks, so I'm just using my white Signal Ball gel pen. I'm going to add just a couple of little marks around my elephant. Give him a couple little dots on his cheek. And also on my toucan. Going back to my black Memento ink, I'm going to take the Big Birthday Wishes stamp and stamp that in the upper right hand corner of my stenciled panel. I've applied some regular tape runner to the back of that, and I'm going to center that on my card front. I've added some foam tape to the back of my elephant and my little bird. I'm going to place the elephant in the center of the flowers and the little toucan like he's kind of sitting up here in a branch. And here's our finished card. I absolutely adore this new stamp set from Hello Bluebird. I think it goes really great with this kind of tropical stencil from Stencil Revolution. Be a really fun birthday card to send to anyone. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to check out my channel. I have lots of other card tutorials and videos for you. Be sure to think about subscribing, and I hope you have a big happy day. This is Heather. Bye.